Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. Today, ever more of us is attributed to genes, from our intelligence to behavioral flexibility, from self-control to even political leaning. But might our mindset's pendulum have swung too far? Might we be underestimating the influences of environment, or to use the current argot, externalities? To make that case, and hopefully to enhance your sense of gratitude and contentment, imagine that you were affected by these externalities. We'll start with in utero environment. You're an unborn baby. Now imagine that your mom is living healthily, so you get a good start in life. Now imagine that your mom regularly force feeds you adult doses of nicotine, marijuana, alcohol, and other mind-altering drugs through her uterus. Feeding. Now you're born. Picture your mom sensitively breast or formula feeding you. Now imagine that instead your mother's neglectful, leaving you often hungry, and then, when she's impatient, often feeding you soda because it's easier than breastfeeding or preparing formula. Parental verbalism. Imagine that from day one your parents talk to you. In contrast, imagine that they mainly park you in a bassinet, and when you're older, in your crib, and when you're older still, in a playpen. Response to crying. Picture your parents trying to figure out why you're crying, and if they can't, they soothe you. Now imagine that your parent or parents usually let you keep crying, and when they're frustrated, they hit you, even shake you. Nature of parental unit. Visualize yourself living in a stable household. In contrast, picture yourself growing up with your parent having multiple live-in romantic partners simultaneously or sequentially, and they treat you variably. Parental harmony. Imagine that your parents are in a happy marriage. Now picture the opposite. That is, they often fight or are cold to each other. Parental reasonableness. Imagine that your parents usually are thoughtful, fair-minded, and considering of your opinions. In contrast, visualize your parents often being irrational, perhaps suffering from mental illness or poor reasoning ability. Parenting consistency. Imagine that you pretty much can count on your parents to behave a certain way with you. In contrast, picture that they're unpredictable, for example, suddenly, without reason, becoming furious. Routines and traditions. Picture your home having comforting family traditions, perhaps nightly dinners, holiday rituals and parties, and so on. Compare that with growing up in a home without them. Meaning those rituals, of course, and parties. Parental expectations. Imagine your parents set reasonable expectations. Now, in contrast, picture they're being unduly demanding or laissez-faire. Spending on you. Imagine that your parents buy you what you need plus occasional extras. Picture instead that your parents are spending little on you, too little on you, or even they spend too much on you, thereby spoiling you. Noise. Picture growing up in a quiet home. Imagine it. Now imagine that you have neighbors who are noisy day and well into the night, or as I grew up, living next to the elevated train that roared 24/7, 365. Climate. Imagine growing up in a frigid climate or a sweltering climate. In comparison, now picture yourself growing up in sunny California. Neighbors. Imagine your neighbors, adults and kids, are kindly. Now imagine that some are scary, or that you live where you live, there are no kids that are your age, except maybe for bad influences. Siblings. Imagine you're an only child, and so you get ample attention, or have one sibling, a kind one, so you have a built-in playmate. Now picture yourself having a bunch of siblings, perhaps including some who are mean and or unduly demanding. Quality of school. Imagine growing up in a school with interesting classes and kind kids. Now picture yourself at a school in which the work is too hard, too easy, or boring, with lots of mean or otherwise ill-suited kids. School stability. Imagine that you attend one school all the way from kindergarten through 5th grade, another from 6th through 8th, and another for high school, giving you plenty of time to make and deepen friendships. But now think about how different it would feel if your parents frequently moved, so that every year or two you have to attend a different school. Extended family. Imagine your cousins, aunts, uncles, and grandparents are wise and kind. Now picture them being the opposite. Health. Imagine that you've always been quite healthy. Now, in contrast, imagine yourself sickly, maybe requiring long hospitalizations, if only because you were hit by a car. friends. Imagine you lucked out. The kid next door who sits next to you in class turned out to be very compatible with you and you're BFFs now. That happened with me in the 3rd grade. Now, 62 years later, we're still best friends. Now, in contrast, imagine that despite your best efforts, you never made close friends. Money. You came of age when the big expenses, college and housing, were affordable. Now imagine you didn't come of age then. As in now. Romantic love. You happened upon your soulmate. Now imagine that despite best efforts, you didn't. And finally, work. You were in the right place at the right time and got a great job with a great boss. Now imagine the opposite. Yes, much of who we are is caused by genes and by our efforts. But more than we'd like to realize, our lives are affected, often profoundly, by externalities. If we've largely lucked out, we have much reason to feel grateful. In any event, I thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko. I welcome your thumbs up, and if needed, a thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments. I love it when you hit the share button and share on your social media, so that magnifies the impact of whatever value I have. And of course, I'm flattered if you subscribe to my channel. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.